The most exciting episode yet.
Hell yeah. Let's go.
Episode 20.
That's right, boy.
Is that right?
A milestone.
Episode 20.
Mm-hmm.
2 new movies.
2 new movies, of course. My boy Mike.
2 decades.
Yeah, boy. My boy K.
On my screen.
We're back.
What do you want to start with, Mike?
2 new movies. Is it Gates of Heaven?
Gates of Heaven.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
1978.
1978.
Errol Morris.
Yeah, that's right.
Famous documentary.
Who Framed
Roger Rabbit. 1988.
Roger Zemeckis. Directed by.
Okay.
Boom.
If it's okay with you, start with Gates.
Go ahead. Start with
Okay.
Gates.
So, you chose both of these movies.
Yeah,
I
that
guess
was interesting.
last
Yeah.
episode you didn't get a pick, and then
Yeah.
even episode before that I think I chose both. What was the thinking and
What did you
choosing
hear about this stuff?
in
Well,
Gates?
I thought I'd piss you guys off. You know, I thought I'd give you some horrible movies this week.
Is that the plan?
Nah, that wasn't the plan. Yeah, my mic's a little loud. All right. Yeah, now it's a little low. Nah, it's all right. All right.
Testing.
Well, I chose Roger Rabbit because Cage said he had never seen it.
Yeah, of course.
And then I was like, all right, this is a milestone in,
Mhm.
you know, film
Cinema. Part of my childhood to an extent.
Yeah.
And
You
then, you know, for the second film, I don't know. You know, I was feeling, you know, a little melancholic, you know, a little, what is life? What is death? You know.
Dead
you know,
pets.
feeling one of that, you know, type of situation. So I stumbled upon this Roger Ebert video, and he said he really liked this movie. And I was like, all right, fuck it. I'll fuck with it. Let's
All right,
roll.
Roger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I usually vibe with Raj.
I usually do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like
Usually.
the Ebert. I
Yeah.
like the Ebert opinion.
Yeah,
So
I
what's
like
going
both
on?
of them usually.
Yeah.
How you guys feel about this? Gates of Heaven.
We actually watch these movies together.
Yeah, I was going to say, and I
Full
think y'all have
disclosure.
a slightly different opinion of it than me, so if y'all want to start out and...
Well, I, for one, think that perhaps, you know, there were some quotables here. I felt,
Yeah,
I felt something.
It was weird.
I
Like,
felt something.
like
it's a weird
for
way
me,
to portray a documentary.
for me, like I had watched like the first 30 minutes, and then I found out like, oh, we weren't gonna record, so I was like, let me put it off. And then when I came back to it, like watching that first 30 minutes again, it was kind of like, but a lot of the stuff that I found kind of like just weird and unsettling was kind of funny that second time.
for sure.
So I think, but then like
Napoleon.
maybe like by, I don't know about what time, but like they kind of leave the first people that they're with behind.
Yeah, there's definitely a shift that's a little bit...
Yeah, and I was kind of like more into them. Like they were a little more interesting. Like
The second group of people?
the first group.
Oh,
like,
I definitely...
the
Yeah,
first
I
one.
agree
Like-
with that.
like the guy
Yeah.
with the rendering plan and the guy.
Yeah, I
who had
love the rendering
Yeah.
plan guy,
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah.
where he's like, you know, I talk about this at dinner and people get
Yeah.
disgusted. I don't know why.
He's like, I had this girl. She was working the desk. She just couldn't handle it.
Yeah.
You know? She just said it
And
was
it's like
against
she
her
didn't see
conscience,
anything.
You know? It's
She couldn't smell
I gotta
anything.
deal with down there with the zoo guys. You know, we don't tell anybody, but we were under the giraffes
Yeah.
and the elephants. You know, we got to deal. They don't say anything. We keep
They're
it
not in the
outside.
burying business.
That guy's crazy as
Yeah.
hell. It's such a weird little job to have.
He loves his fucking job, bro.
So
He
yeah,
loves shit.
I can't say like, oh, I hated it.
Yeah.
I felt like it was sort of like a, you know, spending some time with like this weird group of
It
people.
seems like this almost hands-off like series of just interviews. They
And-
need one-sided though interviews with
I
a
mean,
very strange group.
At times, it was a bit of a slog, I think, to get through. At
yeah,
some
like the
points,
subject matter is kind of so,
subjective and personal.
and like so sad.
You
You
have
know,
to
it's
tap
like
in.
it's almost kind of hard
Yeah.
to like detach and kind of just like look
Now,
at it for weird characters
For
because it's
sure,
like they're
for
talking
sure.
about dead animals
Yeah,
and like
yeah,
their
yeah.
attachment.
Man,
And,
to
and
their
all they're
pets
doing
and
is
stuff.
talking too. It's just people talking at the
Yeah.
camera. That's the
Man,
entire
they showed them
thing.
photos of them pets and stuff, man. I felt some stuff, man. I ain't
Oh,
gonna
dude,
lie.
no, I'm super
I'm not-
sensitive to that shit. I'm
I'm
like,
not-
oh man, come on,
Oh.
dead pets. you
Yeah,
know?
I'm just saying like it's hard to kind of like enjoy it for like, oh, these are weird people
Oh,
because
coming
it's
out
like
of
the
comedic.
subject matter is so heavy.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, it's kind of
Okay.
like you kind of have to take them seriously, even though they're kind of like weird characters.
Right,
I guess
right,
I don't
right.
know.
Right.
I was trying to toe the line, but yeah, it's definitely you go from laughing to crying pretty quickly if you
Mhm.
get a little whiplash there.
And
I
did-
like that about it.
Yeah, I would say, and also like, kind of like once you said what it was, I didn't really even know what it was, and then once I saw like, oh, Errol Morris, I kind of did have high expectations
Based on that,
based on Thin Blue Line.
yeah, previous one, you had seen.
Like, yeah, that may be my favorite documentary ever, and I ended up showing you the trailer for that.
Yeah, I'm on a similar vibe with you actually about Thin Blue Line. I definitely like it more than this movie, but also just as a documentary, like what it means and what it does and how it does it is on a different level.
Yeah.
Because this is his very first documentary, so I'll give him a little bit of leeway.
Oh,
there.
okay.
Yeah, this is considerably earlier.
Yeah.
In his career, at least like a decade earlier than Thin Blue Line.
Yeah.
So this is his first little attempt.
Yeah, because when we were even watching the trailer, I was getting hyped, like hearing that Philip Glass score.
Yeah. Thin Blue Line is sick.
Seeing the characters talk about like areas that I'm actually familiar with, and seeing like the DPD people like talk about their side of it, and also just how it's like my biggest. I mean, that's not the movie we're talking about, but while we're talking about Thin Blue Line, I felt like that was one of the first times where I was like, oh, you can make a documentary and you don't have to be objective. Like, you can have an opinion that you're
attempt to actually
trying
prove something.
Yeah, I was like, man, it kind of felt halfway movie, halfway with the reenactments and all that. Like, yeah, it was really cool. But yeah, let me say I did get some clippage from this.
There are some good lines in this movie.
Hopefully this won't be too loud. We'll see.
And they don't waste nothing, not even the toenails on the animal or anything.
Yeah, let me see.
The only thing that hit your nostrils wasn't that good piece of meat you're about to eat, or the vegetable, or the nice dessert that's put on your table, but you first had to grab the wine glass off the table and take a whiff of that to get the smell of the rendering company out of your nostrils before you could eat.
That guy was such a sweet soul, though, and realizing he's in a wheelchair, too.
What?
Yeah, you realize just a couple times, like, there's a point where that one guy there was a guy I just thought was really cool who was like, now, mister, he had like a weird way of talking. He's like, no,
with
he
the
couldn't,
black hair.
Yeah, he couldn't do any kind of work physically at all now. He had
was
like a
sitting
weird way of
outside,
talking.
he had
Yeah,
the
with like a
beer.
little, with the beer. He was talking about how he couldn't do any physical work, and at one point they zoom out and he's in a wheelchair under a tree, just like, sitting there.
I remember him telling a story about meeting a big guy, a Herculean type.
Yeah.
I think that was all the
Did you like
clippage I
the
got
dude
from this one.
with the sound system trying to show off?
Yes, I fucking love that guy.
That guy had like a guitar solo.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, one of the brothers.
Yeah, and then talking about it, he had a system.
I
It was
really
pretty
liked
cool.
him. Yeah, he was cool.
He was chill.
It was a free spirit.
He just came back to
The contrast between him and the other brother.
Yeah. This movie is kind of. I like all the different little parts where you meet these weird people, but it's almost like it lets them stay a little bit longer than you want, and it just cuts to another person just talking.
Yeah.
I mean, it's weird in the sense that it is. You don't even hear the interviewee questions, or there's really no context to a question. They're just like, hey,
They're
this
telling
is
their
really
story.
And I did get a little lost. I kind of got lost when it switched over to the second group. I didn't know if they were like the new group that owned the plot.
land or what.
Well,
yeah,
I was a little confused by that since it doesn't show
I don't think there was any connection, right?
Yeah, I think they just owned another pet cemetery.
Yeah.
Maybe I couldn't say for sure.
Well, it had to get moved.
Because he kind of refused. He kind of refuses to explain it. You just don't really see anything on screen like text.
And then it was like kind of this one lady talking about a story of like her buying the kid like a
her
car.
son was like screwing her over, and she's like, "Just wait, I'm going to show them."
That was
She's,
like
suing him or
super
something.
crazy. Like
That was just. I kind of like that though, because
Yeah,
that
it was-
reminded me of the old white ladies like my grandpa would hang out with in East Texas, or like my uncle Bill, who's actually just like my grandpa's best friend or some weird
Sure.
shit. They're all dead. That whole generation of like people isn't even like an old folk we're even gonna make anymore.
Yeah.
You be sitting out there at the front door in your rocker,
Yeah.
just talking shit about your kid you lent too much money to or whatever her problem was.
showing that shit.
But yeah, I would say I enjoyed it. I didn't hate it, but it wasn't necessarily everything I was expecting. Like the name carries a little bit of cachet.
I think the high expectations
Yeah.
from Thin Blue Line might have hurt a little bit too, which is fair. I mean,
And I was going to
whatever.
say I saw Tabloid at some point too.
see,
I
haven't
remember
seen
enjoying
but
that one.
I've seen a couple other by him that I really like as well.
Yeah.
That I would,
But for just like a documentary about some weird people, you know, I'm gonna say
Good shit.
I kind of hate going first, but
You don't have to go first, son. I can go first.
We're all gonna base our score on this. So
Yeah.
No, I won't.
this is the baseline. No, I'm just kidding.
I already
That's not
got
how it
mine.
works.
I'm gonna go 67.
No,
Okay.
no.
Wait,
I was going 63.
Oh damn,
that's all right.
that's cool. That's cool.
That's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean it has some
63.
enjoyable stuff, but it's
Yeah, I can
like I wouldn't
understand.
say it's like
No.
I would definitely recommend Thin Blue Line before this, or
It's definitely
even
more
some
like
other documentaries.
enticing, but the
Right.
structure of it and the way it like kind of talks to the viewer more than this does, I guess.
or even like what's a Grizzly Man, you know, like that's kind of more essential
yeah.
documentary.
But if you're feeling some life and death type shit,
Yeah,
and maybe not, but not a bad choice.
yeah, or just like even kind of like some of the weird characters, like that kind of reminded me of more like narrative film type
Yeah,
of
definitely.
stuff, you know.
They're a little bit on the Stranger Than Fiction kind of side of things.
Yeah,
So you do seem kind of like crafted characters. Shit, I'll give it a score. I like Gates of Heaven. I do admit it's kind of a slog to just sit there because it's just like we're gonna point the camera at a guy. He's gonna talk to you. There might be some kind of vague like shots we put in of like a newspaper or something, but then boom, we're gonna move into somebody else who just gets to be on screen and talk. And something about that just entices me. It does go a little too long, but I just love all the weird characters they moved into. Some of the not narrative choices, but stylistic choices when they did things like showing the different gravestones at different points and stuff. I was like, oh, come on, man. Oh, they had that one for 10 years. Oh, they only had that one for 2. I was getting pretty emotionally invested, and
Cinematography
I like
was
it.
great
Yeah.
too.
I like the way it looks, just the way, or even just how the people look and the environments they're in. You just don't see.
it was square format.
It was very
yeah,
vibrant
it was, yeah, like
It's
4-3
kinda
or
cool.
whatever. Yeah,
for a death movie. It was very vibrant.
yeah, the
Yeah.
colors definitely popped. I don't know. I enjoy it. I'm gonna rate it based on. I'm kind of rate it based on the movies I like by him more because I need to know where they go to kind of put this on there, and based on that, I'm gonna give it a. I'm gonna give it a 78 though. I still actually really enjoy it. I think it's a weird glimpse. It's a lot of random clips of just interviews essentially, but I don't know. Something about it kind of clicked with me.
I don't hate it.
Gels
I
together.
enjoyed it, and that's the best I can give it.
That's what I'm talking about.
And they don't waste nothing, not even the toenails on the animal or anything.
And they're all dead now, you know, the whole cast.
Yeah,
Think about it. Other
That's
than maybe
crazy.
that dude's definitely
that's what I realized.
gone up to the gates of heaven.
True that.
Yeah.
Moving on to 1988's Who Framed Roger Rabbit? Come on, boss.
Robert Zemeckis,
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
director of Back to the Future,
Mm-hmm.
produced by
Castaway, I think, Forrest Gump.
Steven Spielberg,
Oh, yeah,
producer.
yeah.
Starring the
Yeah.
great Bob Hoskins.
Yeah, Bob Hoskins stomping around,
Yeah.
being
Christopher Lloyd.
Christopher
yeah,
Lloyd.
Charles
Christopher Lloyd scared the
Charles
shit out of me in
Fleischer.
this movie. I don't know who that is.
Charles Fleischer. He did Roger Rabbit.
but- Oh, okay.
Yeah, that name sounds like really familiar. Do you know what else he's done or no?
I believe he's done.
But yeah, I had never seen this movie.
I don't know.
I can't really believe that I hadn't seen it. I
Yeah,
always
it's
kind
a
of put
little-
it off, kind of like waiting for that perfect time. And
It was good seeing the Judge Doom revealed to a new person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, this movie, I wouldn't say I had like weird baggage, but as a kid, it was on a lot. Not necessarily as my choice.
I
You
felt
know,
like it was way
adults
bigger.
put it on or something,
Mm-hmm.
and I just remember I was a little sensitive to like dark material in films, or even if they're for kids. And this movie scared the shit out of me.
Hell yeah.
And I hadn't watched it since then as a child, and I actually completely understand why in certain circumstances, especially with the Judge Doom character, and specifically when he gets flattened out
yeah,
and comes back. I had some real serious problems with that as a kid, and just the way he does things near the end. I still kind of do actually. The cartoon roles start applying to things that got kind of creepy, or just the imminent death some of the cartoons are in with the liquid.
They did.
yeah, the
Yeah.
dip.
So it's actually a pretty dark film, and I still stand by that.
I love that type of shit.
Yeah.
80s.
Yeah. You were saying you remember it being bigger.
I mean, as a kid, I guess watching it like on the CRT, you kind of remember the effects being better and this and that.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I think Mike uploaded like a 4K.
Yeah, I was
version
gonna
of it.
say one thing I will say about it is that if you were watching on a CRT, yeah, obviously on a VHS or something as a kid, it would have cleaned up some of like the background, like cartoon guys. You could see where they were like kind of cut into the scene.
Mm-hmm.
There's like a clip where you can see the two of the rat guys like working on the like safe in the background, and they're just too well drawn, just kind of standing there. I don't think you would normally see that in most of the home versions of it.
Interesting.
I think that was a 25th anniversary.
I tell you what, that Jessica Rabbit reveal scene still looks great.
Well, a lot of the
4K.
animation looks
Yeah.
awesome. It just kind of you can sort of see it not completely blend in every way,
Mm-hmm.
if you look too closely.
What'd you think
Yeah.
about it, Cage? What's up?
I liked it.
Yeah, you liked the storyline.
Yeah, I mean,
Noir.
it kind of was like, it took me a while to kind of like figure out what it's kind of going for.
Yeah, it definitely is a weird combination of like an attempt at like a film noir kind of thing, and then he's getting thrown into a toon world that he also takes part in and has like baggage in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the backstory with the brother
Kinda-
and
You know what kind of reminded me of in just a weird way? Have you ever seen Last Action Hero?
yeah.
With Arnold Schwarzenegger,
No,
how he kind of lives in a world where there's all these different kind of stars. At one point, he's coming out of the police department, and like a cartoon cat detective walks by him to go in. He's like, "Oh, hey, it's just him."
Wow.
This guy, he just lived in like a weird world with different rules. That's kind of like how this is.
Yeah.
Cool world type shit.
Yeah, a little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But yeah, I liked it. It was funny, seeing Christopher Lloyd as the bad guy was really hilarious.
It's a different like character for him.
Seeing like some of the mixes of characters, like kind of have to thinking about like, okay, what universe is this
Mhm.
animated character? Like seeing like Daffy Duck, and,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Donald Duck
And
on
Donald
stage.
Duck.
Yeah, I'm curious what the
together.
right situations kind of were with that.
Yeah.
And,
They had to be on screen for equal time.
okay, interesting.
Yeah, I was-
Mickey Mouse and who was that? The goddamn What's Up Doc?
Oh, Bugs Bunny.
Bugs Bunny.
Bugs
yeah.
Bunny.
They were on screen equally.
So it was like Warner Brothers versus Disney.
Basically.
Yeah.
Hmm.
It's a big crossover, though. I'm
Yeah.
impressed they were able to sort of just wrangle them all up and commit to it.
I love the animation, man. You talking about late '80s, man?
Yeah, it looks
for
sick.
sure.
I mean,
Shit
animation
looks
didn't
great.
get better, I mean, it's as good as it's going to get right
And
there.
I love too that it's actually like it's 88.
Yeah.
Like a lot of like late 80s, early 90s movies, like or just like animated stuff at that time wasn't just for kids. Like this is it has a lot of like innuendo.
yeah,
and,
they were
like,
willing to kind of go
stuff
for it a
that-
little bit harder. And then
that is gonna go over like the kid's head, but like will make the parent
it's
laugh.
like every
you
two
know?
jokes is for the parent, and then like
Yeah.
there's two for the kid. One
Or
for the
even
parent,
one
two for
point
the
where
kid.
where he's cursing, like I think he was like, "This is BS" or something like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It also reminded me of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood a little bit for the like revisionist history aspect of it, because the whole like, we have the greatest public transit system in the world. Why would anybody want to do a freeway? What the hell is that? And it's like this revisionist history of that, an LA that could have
Yeah.
been, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I did get some clips. Let me see.
Come on, let's hear it.
This was I was excited to hear this one. Make sure I turn it up here.
I followed him to the studio, but I was too late to stop him.
That's right! You'll never stop me! You're dead! You're both dead! No!
I know that probably doesn't mean too much to Mike, but that's from
It's a rap sample there.
yeah, and on that Born Like This album,
Yeah.
I want to say I forget which song exactly, but yeah,
What artist though?
it's an MF Doom.
Okay,
sample.
I was assuming as much, but
Yeah.
I didn't want to make a guess.
Like there's a lot of stuff that it's like it's always cool to like actually find it, like
Mhm.
Hear it
whether
for the
it's the
first time, yeah.
samples or like
Mhm.
the little stuff from like cartoons and all that.
Yeah, it's pretty dope.
Well, it was like hearing all this stuff in what was it, King of Comedy that was on Opie and Anthony so
Yeah.
often. I had no
Yeah.
idea until then.
Yeah. Let's see what else we got.
What you got, boy?
Oh, that's might be the wrong one.
Yeah.
Oh, did you get Eddie? When I killed your brother, I sounded just like
Yeah, no, that was a little too shrill. But,
Oh man.
but yeah, some good moments.
Yeah.
You know, funny movie.
Oh yeah, definitely one of the best in this genre.
Yeah, kind of reminded me of Space Jam. You know, with the whole like blending. Of,
Combination of live action and animation. Yeah, definitely.
yeah, I
They had,
did-
they had a couple extra years of technology behind them,
Yeah, I would say so.
but yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
yeah, I didn't really notice too much with like any of the weirdness. You know,
I mean, it's only going
I
to blend in
wasn't
so
really-
much because it
Yeah.
can't blend in. You know, it's like real and not real. There's only so much you can do. I think it was more that we had like a 4K. Yeah. What we watched was kind of a nicer
Yeah.
copy, and it's just easier to see
Yeah.
some of those discrepancies or, you know, just things not you know, it's kind of standing out a little bit more than it should, I guess. But I think it looked good overall. I wouldn't hold that
Yeah, I
against
think
it.
it looked. I think it looked pretty great. I really liked the Rogers performance.
Yeah.
You know, the voice acting and just the animation and everything. He really felt like a character.
Yeah, the super cartoon shit he would do, where if, like when they gave him booze and he completely had a
Yeah.
meltdown, his eyes
Mhm.
got all crazy,
And
and
he kind of highlights like the whole what the meaning of being a tune. You know, like I'm just here to make y'all laugh. You know, that's
Yeah.
my existence.
I think they stuck in some weird ass stop motion shit because I think when Doctor Doom gets flattened, that's a really creepy effect when he's like live action, but he's
Yes.
flat like the cartoons. He's like
Then he blows
he
himself
looks like
up.
he's clay
Yeah, it
or
almost
something.
looks clay,
yeah, he
yeah.
uses the helium or whatever to pump himself up.
Well,
but-
because he's like in a suit.
Yeah.
He's like that dude in Men in Black.
Yeah.
You know, skin suit.
yeah,
yeah, Steven,
Cool
I don't-
movie.
I don't like
Not
that
just
guy.
any tone.
Horror, man.
yeah.
That was
It's
yeah.
a horror.
That scared the shit out of me as a kid
Yeah,
too.
it still does a little bit to me.
Oh
Adult.
yeah. All right, man. How are we feeling about this movie, fellas?
I went first last time.
Shit, I'll go.
Okay.
I'm gonna give it a 78. I mean, I like it. I enjoyed it, but a little bit of nostalgia. It didn't quite hit me in the most exciting ways, you know, a movie could.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed it. I really like the animation. The combination of live action still works pretty well. I enjoy a nice Bob Hoskins performance where he's just
Love
kind of
Bob
stomping around,
Hoskins.
being a little toad, you know,
What
being
else is he-
hairy.
What else is he from?
Well,
I-
weirdly enough, he was Mario.
Mario.
Super Mario. And his
Oh,
performance
okay.
is pretty much this, a little bit more like a New Yorker thing. But he's a British guy, I think.
Yeah.
So he was
Wow.
also in. I think he might have been in Brazil, maybe.
Wow.
I
He's
don't
been in
know.
some
I don't want
major
to start saying
films,
stuff. I
yeah.
kind of started feeling a little not sure about
Yeah.
that. But yeah, he's a British guy. So I mean, I honestly think it's crazy. But I think of Mario is another one I saw. I feel like as a kid, or at the same amount of times I saw this, and
I don't think I've ever saw the Super Mario Brothers live action.
Oh, I've seen it.
well, I mean, I
That's
don't
a
say
crazy
it's,
film.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's worth seeing once.
Okay.
Yeah,
Not a barn burner.
No, it's not gonna. You're not gonna like it.
Yeah.
But it's worth seeing once. It's probably fun. It's funny. But yeah, I don't know. I
respect
enjoyed
that score.
Yeah, and just the animation was still pretty cool. You know, when he goes into Toontown, you get a whole bunch of animation.
Now
You
that's
get the reverse where it's kind of more Bob Hoskins against entire animation.
Mm-hmm.
That was really cool. You know, they really flexed with the stuff there.
I love that.
But you know, it just didn't come together to be like, oh, this is a classic I got to see over and over again. Which is a fun movie.
Yeah.
I'll give it props for that.
I'm gonna give it a solid
That's
80.
what it gets.
I'm gonna give it a solid 80. You know, I think this is a good movie. Man, I just think it's a fantastic romp of a time. But just like Mike, rewatching it as an adult, I kind of felt a little. I don't know, man. Felt it was lacking something.
It wasn't quite as exciting as
the magic. The magic of sitting on that carpet, watching that CRT monitor, watching that wood grain television with the VHS popped in, you know, on a Saturday morning with the curtains closed. You know, it really didn't feel that way. It felt very clean because it was 4K, I guess. So I'm like, I still loved it, but I'll give it a, smooth 80. Great performances all around. Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm not mad at any of the scores so far. 78, 80. I'm gonna go. Just so I'm not going 78, I'm gonna go 76. I'm looking forward to rewatching
Whoa.
it. Rewatching it under. I always kind of put it off because I always kind of knew that it was like animation with cartoon and like.
Yeah, it's up
Always
there.
like I'm gonna wait till one day I'm gonna be super ready to watch
Yeah.
it if you know what I mean.
Oh, of course.
So I'm looking forward to watching it again under
The proper way.
different circumstances, but Like I said, I enjoyed it. It's got a lot of funny things. Like I like the noir element, you know, like
Yeah, man.
yeah, it's fun.
It's good shit.
Like when you pulled out that cartoon gun.
Yeah, that cartoon
And
revolver
it shoots out
was
like
really
fucking
cool.
Hispanic bullets.
Yeah.
That was cool, man.
The
But also the
the old
animation of
Cowboys.
having to have him actually hold that, and it'd be kind of it was a cartoon
good.
that he was holding. I thought
Or
it was
even
really
with
cool.
Jessica Rabbit pushing up on him and
Oh
shit.
man,
you know?
yeah,
That's some great animation.
yeah.
Dude.
She looks cool.
I don't know how the
It's
fuck they
something.
would ever do
She
that.
looked. Yeah, that animation was really cool.
It's like proto hentai.
Yeah, it was really smooth, man, and smooth, like good.
I followed him to the studio, but I was too late to stop him.
That's right. You'll never stop me. You're dead. You're both dead. No!
And they don't waste nothing, not even the toenails on the animal or anything. The only thing that hit your nostrils wasn't that good piece of meat you're about to eat.
Eats.
Or the nice dessert that you put on your table. But you first had to grab the wine glass off the table and take a whiff of that to get the smell of the rendering company out of your nostrils before you could eat.